What's up, everybody? So I just ran into an old friend of mine from Narcotics Anonymous, and what's up, you guys? Thanks for watching my best version of me. My name is Coy. So today, I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm just door dashing, and I ran into an old buddy that I know from NA, from Narcotics Anonymous. And it's funny because, besides my sponsor, or my old sponsor, when I gave my life to God and I realized that I didn't have to go to NA anymore because I prayed God to remove that label of me being an addict, and he did. And I no longer have cravings, anything like that. I don't even think about drugs or anything like that. So, my prayer was that I don't want to have to go to NA for the rest of my life in order to stay clean. And I prayed to God. I said, please just remove that fixation inside me that wants to do drugs, that wants to relapse and wants to have cravings and triggers and all that. I said, I don't want to have to rely on NA to keep me clean. I said, I want to rely on you, the ultimate, the almighty, the Lord, my master. That's who I want to rely on to keep me clean. And so I just prayed that over and over and over. And, he did exactly what I wanted him to do. And I haven't been to an NA meeting in over a year now, and I haven't had any problems or anything like that. I mean, my life is pretty easy without drugs because I know that I have God, in my life, keeping me clean. And it's funny, though, because my sponsor, or like I said, my old sponsor, because after I explained all this to my old sponsor, he says, well, you know what? He says, you don't need me anymore then. He said, if you got God on your side and God's doing his thing, and he says, and I'm fully confident, he says, I know, I've seen what God can do. He says, then, you don't need me anymore. And I said, exactly. So me and him parted on good terms and everything. But it's just funny because every once in a while I'll run into somebody from NA that, is still actively going to NA and all that stuff. And they ask me, they're like, hey, like I just ran into a guy, right when I picked up this DoorDash delivery, I ran into an old friend. He's like, hey man, I haven't seen you for a while. How's it going? And I haven't seen you around the meetings. How's your recovery going? I said, my recovery's going awesome, dude. I said, I got almost 3 years. I said, in September 11th, I'll have 3 years clean. And he says, well, I haven't seen you in any of the meetings. I says, yeah, I don't go to meetings anymore. And he gave me that weird look like, dude, because usually when people stop going to meetings and then they try to give a reason or whatever, whatever the reason it is, they usually end up relapsing, because they usually think, oh, I'm strong, I don't need to go anymore, or, I don't have triggers, I don't have this, and they're just giving excuses to not go to meetings because they just don't want to go to meetings anymore. They'd rather try to do it on their own. And if you're not going to meetings, like they have a saying, like I can't remember what the saying is because it's been a while, but it goes along the lines like, if you're not going to meetings, you're not going to make it, basically, to sum it up. And meeting makers make it. If you're not going to meetings, you're not going to make it. Something like that. And so it was just funny because, when he said, yeah, I haven't seen you around the meetings anymore, and I said, yeah, I don't go to meetings anymore, he kind of gave me that look like, oh man, I hope you're not trying to handle this on your own. And I told him, I says, you know what, dude? I says, because there is no, let me just set it straight for you guys, there is no shame in my game. I don't wear the things and have all the things that say I'm a Christian and then deny it in public. I don't do that. I'm very proud to be a Christian. I'm very proud that God has my back, and I represent God, and God takes care of me. I'm very proud of that. I'm not afraid to admit that. So when he says, well, how come you haven't been going to meetings anymore? I said, dude, I've recommitted my life to God, and every day I live my life for God. That's all I do. And I says, and God keeps me clean. And he was like, oh man, right on, man. That's cool. Congratulations. I'm happy to hear it. But it was just funny because, like, I know what he was thinking because I thought the same thing. When I run into people and they're like, oh man, I haven't, I'm like, hey, I haven't seen you around the meetings lately. Where you been? And they're like, oh, I've just been doing this, or I've been doing that, or, I don't need the meetings anymore because, I whatever it is. They give you some lame excuse, and then later down the road, you find out that they relapsed, and they weren't going to meetings, and they thought they could handle it on their own, and they couldn't handle it, which is what happens to a lot of addicts. Unfortunately, that's the reality of being an addict. Is if you're not going to meetings, and if you're not doing the step work, and if you're not doing all the things that NA tells you to do, 95% chance is you're not going to make it. You're going to fail. You're going to relapse. You're going to fall right back into it. You're going to go out on the street again. You're going to be doing all that bad stuff again. But I don't do all that bad stuff again because I gave my life to Christ, and I live my life the way Christ wants me to live my life. I read my Bible every single day, religiously, nonstop, several times a day. I pray several times a day. I talk to God several times a day. I literally live my life for God. All I do is live my life for God. I talk to God. I have conversations with God throughout the day. If there's something that I'm unaware, if there's something that I'm unsure that I should do, I pray about it. And then, I straight up ask God, hey, do you think I should do this? And then I just wait for God to talk to me, and if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I mean when you say, I'm waiting for God to talk to me, because he will talk to you. If you lay a problem at his feet and you listen, he will talk to you. Oh, hang on a second. I got to reactivate my maps because I'm on a DoorDash delivery and I'm pretty close to the area. So I'll be back to you guys in a second. Okay, you guys, sorry about that. I just, hang on. Let me finish backing out of this driveway. And, I will be right back with you guys in just 1 second. So yeah, I kind of knew where I was going on that delivery, and then once I got into the community, I had to reactivate my maps because I didn't know exactly where the house was, and there were some special instructions and all that I had to follow. So yeah, but we're all good now. So let me finish getting. All right, sweet. All right, so yeah, so yeah, I mean, like, I don't. Hang on 1 second. Okay, sorry, I forgot what I was talking about, so I had to rewatch that little video and get. So yeah, so when you lay your problems at God's feet, he will talk to you and he will let you know if you should move forward or if you should not move forward, and like if you don't know what I mean, like as far as, like God removing the label from you, that's something that I heard my pastor, Joel Osteen from Lakewood Church, talk about in one of his sermons. He talked about, that, once you surrender your life to Christ, then you are now a child of God. And God does not want any of his children to be an addict. He wants only the best for us. So if you are struggling in recovery and you are an addict, then all you need to do is pray to God that he will remove that label, because you being an addict, all that is Satan has put a label on you saying that you're an addict. And if you don't know how to remove that label, you're going to go through your entire life going to NA and thinking that, okay, I'm an addict and the only way that I can stay clean is by going to NA, doing the step work and all that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. It's just I didn't want to spend the rest of my life going to meetings every week in order for me to stay clean. I knew there had to be another way. And I just prayed about it. And once I heard that sermon about, born again Christians, it's just a label on you that Satan has placed on you that you're an addict, and all you have to do is pray and have God remove that label. I was all for that. I was like, oh God, please remove that label. I do not want to be going to NA meetings the rest of my life. I want to live a normal life, and I want to have normal friends, and I want to do normal things, and I don't want to have to rely on me going to a meeting every single week in order for me to stay clean. Oh, hang on, I got another delivery. Hang on a sec. Okay, sorry. So I didn't want to have to be going to NA meetings for the rest of my life. So I just prayed to God. I says, God, and you have to do some work also, you pray to God, ask him to remove that label, and then you have to do your due diligence to try to stay clean and to not put yourself in a situation to where you're going to end up using again, or you're going to end up relapsing. And every time you get in that situation, you got to pray to it. You got to pray and be like, God, I'm finding myself very vulnerable today, and I feel like I want to use, but I don't want to use. Lord, remove that craving from me. And you have to, and then after you say that, you have to believe this is where your faith comes in. You have to believe that he's going to remove that craving from you. And then you yourself have to do everything you can in your head and be strong and not think about it. Don't go to certain places where you know you're going to get triggered. You have to do your due diligence and be strong and have faith in the Lord that he's going to keep you strong, and then everything will work out. It will all work out for you. But I'm not going to lie to you. It's hard. It's really hard. That's why I think a lot of people just go the NA route, because it's a lot easier to just be like, oh, I'm just going to go to NA and just have the meetings and have a phone list and have people I can call if something goes wrong. Because if you're trying to get the label removed, God will do it for you, but you also have to help yourself. God will help you, but you have to help yourself. And let me just clear the air. I am not a professional whatever. I'm not a ministry I'm not a pastor. I'm not a sponsor. I'm not any of those. All I talk about on my channel is that I just want to use my own experiences that works for me and make videos and explain to you guys what I'm doing in my life and how God's helping me in my life. And hopefully God will help you in your life. And I don't have to say hopefully. I say, hopefully meaning like if you decide to make that choice, then God will help you. Not as far as hopefully that God will help you, meaning God will or won't help you. No, that's the beautiful thing about God is he did it for me, so he'll do it for you. God is the same God yesterday, today, and forever. That's in the Bible. So if God has done something for somebody in the past, he will do it for me. And if he does it for me, he will do it for you. So you just gotta, all I'm doing is just I'm using my own experiences, my own trials and tribulations in life, and I'm just making videos about it and hoping that these videos reach people, and hopefully these videos help other people, because I'm sure that there's other addicts out there that or other people that are in recovery that have gotten clean that I don't want to say an addict because I don't want to put that label on you, but if you are in recovery and you are struggling and you don't want to go to NA anymore and you have given your life to Christ, then all you got to do is pray. All you got to do is pray and have faith in God that he will keep you clean. Believe that he will keep you clean. Thank him for keeping you clean. And then just put a little bit of effort on your side, and I trust me, God will do the rest. So that's all you got to do. I mean, it's, to some people it's easy, to some people it's hard. For me, it was like a no-brainer, because I like I said, and I'll just say it over and over and over, I did not, like my sponsor, my old sponsor, he has like 20 something years clean. I can't remember, like 25 or 28 years clean or something like that. But for all of those years, he's been going to NA meetings not once a week. He's been going to NA meetings every single day that he has been clean. He may miss 1 or 2 days here or there, but for the most part, he's been going every single... Wait, what am I doing? He's been going every single day to stay clean, and I just don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be going to an NA meeting every single day for the rest of my life. There's a million other things that I want to do in this life, and if I have to set apart time in my day to go to an NA meeting every single day, then I can't do all these things that I want to do. I want to travel. I want to go camping. I want to do so many things that I don't have time to carve out an hour and a half to 2 hours every single day to go to an NA meeting to stay clean. So I put that at God's feet, and I trust that God is going to keep me clean. And like I said, September 11th, I'll have 3 years clean, and I haven't been to an NA meeting in probably almost a year, and I have had no problems, no hiccups, no relapses, no nothing whatsoever. And my life is better than it's ever been before in my life, hands down. And I owe all of that to the glory of God. He's the one that's kept me clean. He's the one that's kept me out of trouble. He's the one that just does everything for me, because he is beautiful and I just love him. He's the best. He's amazing. I love him. So if you are if you have quit doing drugs and you're in active recovery and, you want to live the life that I live, then my recommendations would be like, for one, if you're a born again Christian, find a local church and, hang on, I got a delivery. Hang on a second. Okay, so sorry about that. Let's see, I need to make a U-turn. But if you want to live the life that I have and you don't want to go to NA meetings anymore and you want to be freed from that label, then for one, I recommend, getting God in your life. Getting God in your life, find a good church that, find a good church and get active in your church. The church I want to be active in is all the way in Houston, Texas. And I'm in Washington State. But every Sunday, they have a live sermon on YouTube, and their sermons are live on YouTube. So, my mom is the one that turned me onto that church, and every Sunday, like clockwork, I am up at 6:30 in the morning because there's like Washington time at 6:30 in the morning, and I am up every Sunday 6:30 in the morning with YouTube on, and I'm watching, and I'm not just sitting there watching and doing other things and playing with my phone and everything. I'm watching as if I am sitting there in the audience. I am watching, I'm singing the songs. When they pray, I close my eyes, I pray. I mean, I'm acting like as if I am there in Houston. So I take this very, very seriously. So, find an active church, get active in your church, and then, I don't know what that exact verse is, or I don't know exactly where it is in the Bible that they talk about that Satan has just placed a label on you being an addict. But if you went to your pastor and said, hey, I saw my video, whatever, about this guy talking about how Satan has just placed a label on you that you're an addict, I'm sure your pastor can help you find that and can help you do the right steps and stuff like that. But I mean, it's not rocket science. I mean, all you have to do is you just have to believe in your heart that God can help you and lay your problems at God's feet. What I mean by that is just you have to pray to God and just give your problems to God. Like, don't try to handle it on your own. Just, be like, God, I don't want to be an addict anymore, and I don't know how to do this on my own. I don't know how to remove this label on my own. I need your help. So can you please help me remove this label of me being an addict? I don't want to be an addict. I don't want to rely on NA. I want to be free from this. I want to be free. And thank him. Be like, God, thank you that you're going to bring freedom and you're going to bring peace to my life, and you're going to remove this anxiety and remove this stress and remove these triggers and cravings and all that from my life and make me free. And God will do it. Like, I wish I could say for sure, if you do 1, 2, and 3, then you'll be free and everything. But it all just depends on what you do, how you do it, how you go about it, and if you're serious about it, and if you do your part, and if you help yourself, because that is the biggest thing also. You have to help yourself. One of the things that it talks about in the Bible is that, if you want God's help, you have to help yourself. And like I said, that's just a simple thing of just, if if you have a craving, or if you get triggered by something, and that, okay, you just went to a place and this place just triggered you, and you say it's a place that whatever it is, and that place triggered you, then just don't go to that place anymore. Pray to God that you want God to remove that craving from you, and that craving you just got because you got triggered from going to this place. So leave that place immediately. Leave that place. Don't go back to that place. That's how you are helping yourself. Don't go back to that place, and then pray about it and thank God for it and believe that He is going to help you. And that's it. I mean, God will help you. Like, this life is better than any high I've ever had in my life. Like, living for God and having God in my life and just being the Christian that I am and the person that I am, like, my life is better than it's ever been. And not only my life, but my life with my mom, my life just with other people. Like, it's just so good. Like, I can go on for days and days and days and just talk about how good my life is, but I couldn't do it without God. Like, God is the one making all of this possible, you know. So I think that's all I'm going to say about this. I think I've beat the crap out of this horse pretty good. So I hope that you guys get the point of what I'm trying to say and everything. So that's it. Comment below if you guys are struggling, and let me know that you guys are struggling, and I'll try to do my best. I try to read all the comments, or I do read all the comments. And you know, if you're struggling, let me know what you're struggling with, and if I can help, I'll totally help. You know, and if you're liking all these videos and everything, subscribe to my channel, because it really helps me out, and I really appreciate you guys' support. And with all that being said, I love you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. I gotta pick up this order. All right, bye.